Welcome one and all to another day here at the Damage Report. I am John Idarola, and we have a special treat for you. This show will be live broadcasting not only on YouTube and on Twitch, but also on Twitter Spaces. Wait, I'm seeing it actually crashed, unfortunately. Okay, just Twitch and the YouTube then. I guess we'll have to go back to what we used to do. But anyway, joining me for this attempted triple cast, Maz Jobrani. How's it going,
Hey,
Maz?
John. I heard that we're gonna have the largest crowd ever on any social media. We have 500 people watching, and it's the largest crowd ever.
Ever. So much so that like if more people come, it might actually crash the servers. So if everyone in the chat could be really toxic and drive away a few people, that would be helpful. I will be really offensive and boring at the same time. So together we will manage how many people arrive. But anyway, very excited to have Maz on. Maz, you've been busy recently. I hear you've got a new special available on YouTube literally as we speak.
Yes, sir. After people watch us, they can just click. It's called The Birds and the Bees. It's on YouTube. It's there. They watch it. They enjoy it. Give it a comment. Give it some love. If you like it, share it with your friends. If you don't like it, keep it to yourselves.
If you don't like it, shut up about it already. You know what? It's available. It's free. Just shut up.
Yeah, it's called The Birds and the Bees.
Yes, I'm sure it's gonna be great. I'm gonna be watching it later on today. And we will get a little bit of a preview of the sort of keen, incisive humor of Maz Jobrani as we mock some of the most ridiculous and awful people in the country on today's show. So I'm excited for that. Obviously, we're gonna be talking about Ron DeSantis's big campaign rollout. He rolled the dice on Elon Musk and it didn't work out for him. So we're gonna be talking about that. Donald Trump following up a joke earlier this week that even I had to give him credit for with a pretty funny bleat we're gonna be breaking down on today's show. We're also gonna be talking about things like the debt ceiling. We got this terrible pastor who's openly calling for the murder of people who are supportive of the LGBTQ community. But we're gonna make fun of Marjorie Greene along the way, and eventually we'll get into where exactly Tucker Carlson is at in the launch of his next phase of life. And we'll also be talking about, I think, the most fascinating drums I've ever seen taking place in a monastery. That will be coming up in the aftermath. So everybody definitely stay tuned for that. Along the way, please hit the like button and share the stream so people know we're live. And if you want to send us comments, tweets, super chats, reach out to me or to Maz. You can send those and we'll respond as we go. You might even get yourself a Blue Apron gift card along the way. But with all that said, Maz, you ready to jump into this thing?
Let's go. I got my Twitter up. I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start with this.
There's 382,000 people on.
All right, great. So let's see.
So we just keep crashing, huh?
Yeah, I think we've got just a massive number of people online, so it's servers are straining somewhat.
We all knew it was gonna happen. Come on, we knew it was gonna happen. Called it yesterday, it was the easiest call in the world. Ron DeSantis decided to rely on Elon Musk's Twitter hardware to make his official entry into the 2024 presidential race. Look, in a couple of months' time, in defense of Rob DeSantis, nobody's gonna remember this because he is going to have been embarrassed 99 times between now and then. So there will be other stuff to embarrass him. But this is such a terrible, predictably terrible way to launch his presidential ambitions on an audio-only format, which is going to just magnify how lacking in charisma he has, and one that unfortunately doesn't have the engineers backup to make it stable. Twitter Spaces, by the way, it was not stable for this event. It's not new, it's been around for a long time. They just don't have engineers anymore. And so this was so predictable. They took like 20 minutes after the first link crashed to get another one, and then people flooded in, and then it was too many people, so the whole thing broke. It was dropping out. People were getting knocked out of the chat, including Ron DeSantis, and people were pouncing. The Biden campaign actually advertised based on it. So anyone looking for DeSantis flop or DeSantis disaster would see advertisements for Joe Biden. But that said, there were some defenders. The moderator of the Twitter space, David Sachs, actually believes it was a massive success. Take a look at this.
We've never had an event like this on social media where you've got literally 1 million plus people trying to break down the doors to get into a Twitter space. And the only way to really test the scalability of a tech platform is you just get to that next level of scale. And so we had engineers there who were helping us out, and we just made the switch to my account. And then like I said, it worked perfectly. But it was me and Elon sitting next to each other, and we tried using his phone, then we tried using my phone, and it worked out great.
No, it didn't. It did not work out great. It did not all work out. I know that he has to try to salvage this thing, Maz, but this was an absolute debacle that could have easily been replaced by going on Fox News or the radio or live streaming to YouTube. Literally any other place on the internet would have been a better place to do this than Spaces. What do you think?
John, this thing crashed so hard that Elon Musk should rename Twitter Spaces to Twitter Space X, because he's good at crashing things, my friend. It blew up like one of his rockets recently did. What a disaster, and how entertaining to watch. I love using the word Schadenfreude. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it is very Schadenfreude to watch these just horrible people struggle. Because first of all, as you said, they've gotten rid of all the engineers. Secondly, I wonder if maybe Ron DeSantis didn't pay his $8 for his blue check. Maybe that's what happened. Yeah. Whatever it is, it was a disaster, and I'm so happy to hear about it. And the truth is, I think people who were not able to listen in probably it was a blessing for them, because they didn't have to listen to all of his nonsensical crap that he spews, all the hate, all the and dull. I mean, I gotta say, listen, I hate Donald Trump, but at least like once you're listening, because you're like, he's gonna say something somewhat entertaining at some point. DeSantis is as entertaining as just plain yogurt. It's this, he's horrible. And to be interviewed by Elon Musk, who's like plain yogurt with 2% fat. I mean, it's like before he's not that. You know what I'm saying. But the point is, what a great thing to have happen. It really was.
Yeah, you don't want to be plain yogurt. I mean, look, admittedly, some people like plain yogurt. Mike Pence considers it a spicy treat, but for a lot of people, it's just not enough to get them excited or whatever. By the way, that claim that David Sachs made that it was the biggest online event ever. More people. Look, they had like 400,000 people. That's not bad. That's pretty good. I mean, it's bad that you were able to get 400,000 people and the experience that they had was terrible. That's hardly going to help you, but it's not bad. But it is also very much not the biggest event ever. Lots of shows have had more. Travis Scott had 12 million users join his virtual concert hosted in Fortnite. That was a little bit bigger. This was such a debacle, by the way. Even Fox News, who is often accused by Donald Trump of like pulling for Ron DeSantis and loves Elon Musk, they put up a graphic calling it amateur hour and saying that it was a disaster due to tech issues. Verge editor Alex Heath says, "I've been in bigger clubhouse rooms." And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pointed out that she had more people watch her play Among Us. It was admittedly far more interesting. And so again, none of this was necessary. This was obviously a bad idea even before it crashed. But there's gotta be a reason for it, right? Why do it in this way? Why not do a big rally that you broadcast to TV? Why not do something like that? Why do you, Maz, I'm actually asking, why do you think he decided to go with Elon Musk and with Twitter Spaces instead of these traditional things?
Well, I think that everyone, Elon clearly is trying to be a kingmaker, and I'm sure that he reached out, and Trump has not come back to Twitter, so there's probably a little bit of that. And DeSantis probably thought, oh, this is a unique way. The truth is, at this point, I still don't even know if he announced his presidential run, because it was such a disaster. The news I got was that he was on a disastrous Twitter Spaces. I still don't know if he's running yet. But it really is. It's like one of these things where I think, as someone who is a comedian and we're launching, specials, or you're on a show or something, and you're trying to figure out what's the best way? A lot of times people say, I want the exclusive. So-and-so is going to get the exclusive. Well, I think that dumb DeSantis just fell for this idea of like, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's go on Twitter. Where, by the way, now, I don't know about you, ever since my little blue check got taken away, I didn't pay the $8 because I was like, this is stupid. And on my page, it's mostly, I used to go to Twitter to get my news. Now I go to Twitter to get my ads. So if people are going on Twitter to even, I don't even know how they would find this, because if you're not paying the $8, you'd be scrolling through trying to find this thing. It's a disaster. It's crashing. And you would think, by the way, David Sachs was saying before, he's like, the only way to really test something like this is to try it and see what happens. Well, you would think that these people who own the company would have some way of doing a test run and mocking, like, what if we end up with 100,000 people? Can we make this thing where, what if 500,000? What if 1 million? And by the way, doesn't Elon Musk have like, I don't know, hundreds of millions of followers? And percentage wise, if you look at that and go, yeah, you go, this is a disaster. So somebody convinced Ron the Dum Dum to launch on Twitter, and it's been entertainment ever since.
Yeah, well, it's about to get more entertaining. Also, just I'm gonna put a pin in this. This is a message to Tucker Carlson, who we'll be talking about later in the show. This is the platform where you're gonna be broadcasting to millions of people on a regular basis with video, by the way. This is just audio. It couldn't handle just the audio feed, by the way. Oh, but you're gonna do a really professional video show. Best of luck to you, very much not. Okay, well, that said, how did Donald Trump respond to Ron DeSantis' difficulties launching his campaign? Take a look at this. He posted on Instagram.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Ron DeSantis Twitter space.
Hello? Is my microphone working correctly?
George, can you just wait while we...
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can all hear you, George. Can you just hold on for a second?
Hilfa, I don't think they can hear me.
I can hear you fine, George. Just speak to the
I don't think George knows how to use Twitter.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Can I please make my big announcement now? Everyone just...
Hello?
Just shut up, George.
Can somebody just mute George?
Dick, could you try not to cough on the...
Okay, so how are we gonna take out Trump, you guys?
Guys from the FBI, this is not a private call. This is a public Twitter space. Everyone can listen in.
God damn it.
Okay, so I don't know who created that. I don't think Donald Trump knows who created that. I don't think he cares. He spread it, and it's kind of funny. I mean, it's worrisome in a way that we're gonna get into, but combining Elon Musk and Ron DeSantis with the devil and someone who conservatives hate even more than the devil in George Soros doesn't look good for DeSantis. By the way, also is a really big attack against Elon Musk, implying that he's working behind the scenes with the FBI to take down Trump. Interesting. But anyway, let's get to just a little bit more of it and then we'll comment.
Everyone just shut the hell up so I can make my announcement, okay?
You go, girl.
Wait, the devil is gay?
So what? Everyone in this call is gay. I happen to know every single one of you has a secret gay lover hidden in your closet.
Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie
Guys, can we please just calm down?
Okay, so look, Maz, kind of funny. They got it out really fast, by the way, after the actual event. Now, they're clearly duping, I don't know if it's through an AI tool or just a really good impersonator, both Elon Musk and Ron DeSantis. So a little bit worried about how that could be used in other things that aren't as obviously fake. But what do you make of this?
As a comedian, I thought it was funny. I thought that was one of the first funny things I've actually seen come out of Team Trump. A lot of times people that are, the difficulty with being a right-wing person trying to do humor is that there's not a lot of irony. They're not very good at. It usually doesn't work because they just it's just there's not irony, and they're also not punching up. They're sometimes punching down. It usually does not work. Yeah. In this case, it actually works because first of all, the target is Ron DeSantis, which is great, and then for whoever did this to put that all together, I thought it was pretty funny. Obviously, there's stuff in there where you go, you cringe a little, but overall, whoever did this, Trump's team should hire because I can't imagine this person was on actually Trump's team because Trump's team, he does tend to hire really incompetent people. So they should track this person down, hire him, I think, or her. or they, and they can make more videos like this. I found it again. I found it entertaining. And again, it's just Ron DeSantis. What a disaster! Like, I mean, and by the way, his name is so fun. I keep coming up with these puns. It's like Ron DeSantis. Like his ratings are going to descend. You get it?
AOC called him disaster. I saw, DeSadness has been the one that I've been pulling for some time, but yeah, look, the Spaces thing was obviously going to be very memeable from the very beginning. Again, another reason why it was a terrible idea. That was a funny video, but as I alluded to, my fear is that they are going to do, like fake voice reproductions of Ron DeSantis and the other candidates, and they are going to do it not in a way where he is joking with George Soros and the devil. It is going to be really, really dark, bad stuff. And the thing is, like that would be bad enough that it just existed. I have no doubt that Donald Trump is going to be sharing that stuff too. As we're going to get to a little bit later on the show, they are willing to be very explicitly dishonest about their critiques of Ron DeSantis. So I'm a little bit worried about how they're going to attack their political opponents by faking photos and video and voices. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Deep fake. I mean, it all kind of goes back to that video they made of Nancy Pelosi when they slowed it down and she was talking and they were saying, oh, she's drunk. Look at her. She was giving a speech or something. And clearly, yes, by the time those types of deep fakes are disproven, some damage has already been done. And there is a certain population that will still believe that, no, that was real. So you're absolutely right. It's gonna get pretty crazy because we already have this alternative facts. Now we're gonna have alternative realities, and unfortunately, there's enough people who will have the power to vote, who will see those things and believe in them.
Yeah, 100%. As you said, the damage is very much already done. Like, what percentage of people will see that saw the first one will see the retraction if it ever comes?
It's kind of like, if you look at you alluded to Tucker, like we all looked at his attempt to whitewash the January 6th insurrection by showing videos from the back door when nobody was hanging out, or just showing different angles and going, look, nothing happened. So there are certain people in the population who saw that, even though it was a total flop, but there's still a very small percentage who saw that and go, see, it wasn't anything. So if you're able to manipulate AI to create these deep fakes, there's gonna be people, I mean, just go to a Trump rally and interview people and all the craziness that they spew, all the QAnon type stuff. Yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah, especially because these aren't people who are like, they just might believe the fake thing or like willing to believe, they want to believe the fake thing. They're not looking to see if, well, this like perfectly lines up with everything I believe. I should probably make sure if it's true or not. They are not doing that. So I think this is a really toxic brew for the internet. I want to jump ahead to a little bit of the substance though. So if we get ready for graphic 5, that's going to be the first one that I go to. In his interviews last night, Ron DeSantis, once he got past tech problems and everything, was able to preview some of the attacks that he is going to lodge against Donald Trump once we really get into this campaign. So he said on Fox News that the reason that President Biden could get away with, quote, shenanigans at the southern border, which, by the way, don't use the term shenanigans. Everybody just associates that with either something funny or something sexy. It doesn't mean what you think it means anymore, was because there was not a wall protecting it. Mr. DeSantis promised to build a full border wall, a rebuke of Mr. Trump's failure to keep that signature promise. This attack against Donald Trump, to me, really exemplifies the issue that Ron DeSantis is gonna have. It's the sort of attack that you kind of have to make against him. He said he was gonna do something, and then he didn't actually do it. So he kind of has to make this attack. But at the same time, Trump supporters believe that he succeeded, or believe, how dare you attack him, or believe, well, if Trump is still gonna say that he's gonna make a wall, so why would I trust you over him on the same claim? It's a very difficult thing to attack Donald Trump sometimes because his fans are so durable in their admiration of him. But also particularly difficult because Trump and his team is so willing to be like the most dishonest you can imagine. And I have a perfect example of it. So I want you to take a look at this. So one of the things that DeSantis is going to attack Trump on that I think makes sense to attack him on is some of the people that he's appointed to positions. Now, to be clear, he's not attacking Trump for appointing like white supremacists and stuff like that. That's fine. He's going to do the same thing. He's only attacking him for bringing on people who eventually the right turned against. And there have been a lot of those. So Jerome Powell was appointed to the Fed's chair. He said that by Trump, DeSantis says that caused some inflation, so he'd get rid of him. He also said that he would fire the FBI director, Christopher Wray, on day one. And it's very popular amongst the right, amongst the MAGA people to hate and despise Christopher Wray. So again, it makes sense for DeSantis to do this, to say he's gonna fire him. But take a look at what the Trump team did. So when DeSantis says that he's gonna fire him, they took the video of him saying that when he was on with Trey Gowdy on Fox, and they quote retweeted it with this, Trump's war room. That's the Trump presence on Twitter. Really? And what they're quote retweeting is Ron DeSantis back in the day saying Christopher Wray is talented, capable, and highly respected. POTUS has made an inspired choice, and I look forward to working with Director Wray. So he's talented, he's capable, he's highly respected. So are you really gonna fire him, huh? Looks like you love him, you're complimenting him. We can't trust a person who's gonna compliment Christopher Wray. Well, do you know what Ron DeSantis's tweet was itself a quote retweet of? It was of this. Trump saying, I will be nominating Christopher Wray, a man of impeccable credentials, to be the new director of the FBI. They cropped that out to attack Ron DeSantis, saying, you shouldn't be complimenting the guy. They cropped out Trump complimenting the guy. And so they are willing to go so obvious. All you have to do is search the text on Twitter and it comes up. Those tweets are still there. Trump's tweet is still there. But this is how dishonest this race is gonna get, Maz.
Well, I think DeSantis is, someone's got to start really going at Trump, like actually going at Trump. I mean, everyone's kind of, the way they attack Trump is such a around, like they go, there's a guy out there who has hired people who I don't like. I mean, it's like, just, he's gonna go after you. You got to go after him, and we just got to get some popcorn and watch them yell at each other. I really think it'll be very entertaining if and when somebody actually steps up and tries to actually go after Trump, which, by the way, this wall thing is the dumbest idea ever, because the people that are trying to, anyone who's an asylum seeker is trying to come into America legally. Well, that's part of the legal immigration policy. And if they're illegally trying to come in here, if you got a wall, people have ways of cutting underneath the wall, finding other ways around it. It's the dumbest thing in the world. And rather than actually dealing with an immigration system that's broken that we can fix, they keep coming up with these little band-aids that are red meat to their base. And really, I mean, that's what Ron DeSantis should be saying. If Ron DeSantis really wants to go after Trump, he should say, let me just tell you something. This ball is a stupid idea. I've got a better idea, and then enlist his idea and be like, and Donald Trump is a sex offending, narcissistic, lying insurrectionist. And I'll tell you why I'm better. Someone's got to just go for it. These people are all just kind of hanging back. Everyone's doing the Mike Pence, strategy of running for president. You ask Mike Pence the question, well, I never saw him do anything illegal while I was there. I mean, come on, dude, he tried to kill you. What a bunch of just.
No, Maz, you're 100%. That is the issue for Ron DeSantis. It is reason number 1,000 that I am glad that I am not Ron DeSantis. Is the only way that he can beat Trump is by attacking him like full, all cannons blazing. But once you pull the trigger or light the fuse, I guess, then that could be the end of your political career. Either it works and it's your only chance to become president, or it doesn't work and you're probably dead to the right in America.
But if you don't do it, here's the thing: if you don't do it, you're still gonna die. Like you're never gonna beat this guy. You're gonna go on that stage. Like the other thing he was talking about was he's in a very inadvertent way. He was saying, "Oh, Trump should come to the debates." Well, first of all, if Trump comes to the debates, he's just going to insult all of you, and you're all going to sit there red-faced, going like, oh, "This guy." In all due respect, President Trump, you did win the election, and President. And of course, afterwards, I'm going to go, Who were the other 10 people on that stage? I don't remember any of them. Because there was that one guy who was yapping away and just making stuff up. The zinger guy.
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna be absolutely brutal. And you know what? I need that. I need that this year, the destruction of Ron DeSantis. Okay, with that said, I wanna go into just one more thing, just because it's very, very weird, and I like weird things. So supporters of Ron DeSantis have released this. That's going too easy on him. Effectively, Ron DeSantis's Twitter defenders, the war room on Twitter's rapid response, they released this ad to get people hyped about Ron DeSantis. We're gonna show you just a section of it because it's more than 3 minutes long. But I want you to listen to this and I want you to watch it. Watch it more than listen. And I want you to know who shows up in the ad other than Ron DeSantis and how often they show up. And then we're gonna talk about it. Take a look at this.
Well, I am running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback. Look, we know our country's going in the wrong direction. We see it with our eyes and we feel it in our bones. Our southern borders collapse. Drugs are pouring into the country. Our cities are being hollowed out by spiking crime. The federal government's making it harder for the average family to make ends meet and to attain and maintain a middle-class lifestyle. And our president, well, he lacks vigor, flounders in the face of our nation's challenges, and he takes his cues from the woke mob.
I want to be very clear. The ad is more than 3 minutes long, the little video that they posted, and it goes on like this the entire time. It's a shot of him, a shot of Musk, a shot of him, a shot of Musk. Now look, devil's advocate, they probably thought, well, we got to spice up this audio only thing. He's talking to Elon Musk. He's doing a thing on Twitter, so I guess we'll put in Musk. But once you clip it out as an ad, it looks like the thirstiest video I've ever seen in politics. Why are you putting, it would be like if I put just a video of me talking about politics and I just kept intercutting to Bernie Sanders. Like Bernie Sanders isn't talking. I'm not talking about Bernie Sanders. I'm just like, I have a feeling that you're probably rapidly getting sick of my voice and my whole face. So here's Bernie. Is that keeping your interest? A little bit of Bernie Sanders here. It'd be so weird. Maybe it'll work on Twitter. It was, after all, tweeted, and we know that there's a lot of Elon Musk cultists on Twitter, Maz, but it just comes off as so weird to me.
I'm starting to think that Elon Musk has said to him, listen, I will put whatever amount of dollars into your coffers and I will support you if you kiss the ring. I think that's what's going on, because it feels like, again, like you're right, for him to agree to do this disastrous announcement on Twitter. Why wouldn't you do a video Twitter? I mean, a video announcement of your presidential run as opposed to an audio? It's all so mumbo jumboed, and it's also just mishandled. And then this ad and yeah, I think that there's something going on. Like he's like the Peter Thiel to the, how was it Peter Thiel? Is that his name? Peter Thiel, the guy who the billionaire who gave money to Trump. He's that version of billionaire to Ron DeSantis, and he's like, maybe you will kiss my ring. I guess because Musk wasn't born in America, so he can't even run as the vice presidential candidate. So yeah, he's basically saying, I will be calling the shots, and I'll be in every other clip of your commercials.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is, it seems like just like an appeal to him, I guess, because Musk hasn't made clear that he's gonna support DeSantis. He seems to like Tim Scott a little bit. He doesn't really seem to want to be specific. I'm assuming he wants whoever becomes president to favor him and his companies. That would be my guess, but we'll see. We'll see if the attempts to court Elon Musk continue. And if they do, they will be cringy.
Yeah, anyway, someone could just put some like romantic music behind that, and it's a bromance. It's a bromance with these two.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna take our first break, everyone. When we come back, we gotta talk about the debt ceiling, but I swear we're gonna make it exciting. Don't go anywhere. It's gonna be fun after this. Okay, everybody, thank you for being here. If you're just joining us, please hit the like button if you're on a platform that has one of those things. And otherwise, thank you regardless of where you're watching and or listening. Love our podcast audience. I was reminded, by the way, we broadcast on Samsung TV. Welcome to the Samsung TV viewers as well. And if I've missed your platform, please let me know so that I can acknowledge it. Anyway, with that said, let's jump into some substance, starting off with this.
They want to protect tax cuts on yachts and private jets and make single moms pay for it. And that's where we say no. And the time is now to ask the Republican caucus why they are valuing billionaires over veterans and single mothers.
That is a great question. Actually, I would love to hear Kevin McCarthy and other senior Republicans ask that. AOC there with others in the Congressional Progressive Caucus pointing out that the ongoing negotiations to try to avert the apparent complete collapse of our economy over the debt ceiling, not going well, because in addition to not giving progressives or even just centrist Democrats anything other than just not defaulting on the nation's debts, at the same time, they are very much doubling down on the sorts of policies that AOC talks about there. In fact, we found out that they're planning to unveil yet more tax cuts in 2 weeks after the debt limit passes. So we might be in the wake of economic destruction when they announce that they're gonna be giving away trillions more dollars. And I wanna just briefly give you an idea of what their plan is. And as you hear this, I want you to think, is this the sort of thing that sounds like it's designed to help people like me and my family? So what they're gonna do, it'll include a full restoration of research and development deductions, full bonus depreciation, removing caps on business interest expensing, and a doubling of the 1.08 million limitation on the Section 179 deduction, which, like bonus depreciation, I read, allows a company to deduct an asset's cost up front. That sounds like great stuff for people with corporations, probably not regular people. By the way, Representative Vern Buchanan, Republican of Florida of all places, his legislation is aimed at making the 2017 Trump GOP tax cuts for individuals and some businesses permanent. They're likely to include that. It has 100 Republican co-sponsors, and oh, what do you know? Vern Buchanan would personally benefit economically from this. He's hardly the only one. All of the millionaires amongst the Republicans would benefit from it too. And the tax cuts that they want to make permanent, Maz, would add 2.5 trillion more to the deficit over the next decade. That's not counting the couple of $1 trillion that the initial passage of those tax cuts blew a hole in our deficit and was inevitably added to the national debt. And so at the same time that they're calling for cuts to basically every social program that you can think of, they're planning to roll out trillions more in tax cuts for corporations and the uber wealthy. What do you think?
First of all, the name Vern is a funny name. I don't know if you remember.
Like it's old school.
Yeah, you're too young. There used to be a commercial. The guy go, "Hey, Vern," and then I forget that. Then I don't even remember what the commercial was for. But
Maz,
anyway,
I watched those movies growing up.
Oh, there you go, Vern. There you go,
Ernest.
So as everyone knows, this is not about fiscal responsibility. I mean, the best thing that someone explained that really explains this whole debt ceiling is that these are already things that we've agreed. The Congress, from Republicans and Democrats, have agreed to put into the budget and pay for. Now we're trying to raise the debt ceiling to borrow and pay for them. So these are already programs that have been approved. And now on the back end, they're coming back and going, well, if you guys want to do to get the debt ceiling up, you're gonna have to cut back on some of the stuff that you guys have approved. And of course, the things that the Democrats have approved are, things that are beneficial to a lower income American versus what the Republicans want. So that's a very good way to explain that this is not a thing where they're trying to, the Democrats aren't trying to bring in a new program. They're trying to say we need to continue to help people that need help. And this country in general, I mean, if you look at the taxes we used to pay 30, 40 years ago versus what we're paying now, I mean, it's just gotten less and less and less. And listen, clearly everybody, I'd love to pay less taxes, but I know that there's things that we need to improve. So I can't drive around Los Angeles and go, look at all these problems, and by the way, lower my taxes because and solve these problems. So it's all very hypocritical. And this is, it really is, it's like a hostage situation where they're trying to keep these programs hostage. They're saying, okay, you need to, they do want to, they said it, that they'd wanted to look at getting rid of Medicare, Medicaid, all of these things that people need. Not everyone is a millionaire entrepreneur. There's a lot of people in our society that need a hand to get. Well, what about helping with education? What about giving people a break in education? What about improving other ways of improving the lower and middle classes. And you know, I don't understand anybody who supports the Republicans and then suffer under them. You know, that's what, and a lot of it is because that's why they go to the culture wars, right? They say, oh, there's drag queen storybook hour at the schools, so let's, you know, vote for us. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to take away your benefits. So it's I don't know, I don't get it. And yeah, I think we really got to keep driving home the point that these programs have already been approved. Everything has been approved. We're just trying to pay for it, and these guys are trying to hold that hostage.
Yeah, and remind people too that the fight we're having right now is, as you say, just maintaining the programs that are desperately needed when we should be talking about expanding them. I don't think there's a lot of regular people, even just regular conservatives, that are thinking like, yeah, that little bit of aid that I get so that my kids can eat and I can afford whatever needs to be cut. It is just they are very successfully distracted. Like you say, you know, why not invest in these programs that affect, you know, like people who are poor? Well, because very few billionaires are poor. So they've chosen, like they believe that we can distribute the money to one of two things, or even we can sort of do an end run around that. Let's just not distribute so much money and then we can just keep it with the rich. Like the choice is very clear. And we have this fight every year in America. This is always what the debate has been. Do we use the money to benefit regular people, or do we just allow the rich to hoard more pointless wealth that they'll never be able to spend? That is just zeros on a bank account that will have no effect on their life. And the question always is, which will win? The distraction or the people paying attention? And so they've been very successful with some of their demonization of like the LGBTQ community. We'll be talking about that in just a little bit. But that is their best bet, always, perpetually in American politics, to maintain the economic status quo.
And a lot of these people, John, don't come to this realization until it affects them, until their father or mother is old and needs these benefits, and then they go, oh, these benefits aren't available. Or like you see, like when Jon Stewart is advocating for veterans and going, you guys sit here and rah the soldiers until they come back, and then you don't give them their benefits, or you don't take care of them the way you promised to. And a lot of these veterans are people who were hardcore supporters of the Republican Party, and then they come to find out that the Republican Party has been voting against their interests. So the wake up call comes, it just comes too late. It's after they've voted these people in.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, really fast, why don't we go to a little bit from Kevin McCarthy, who's obviously being called out here. You know, actually, I'm gonna start off with graphic 4, and then we'll go into the video. AOC has been calling out the Republicans for their ridiculous stance on raising the debt ceiling, but very specifically targeting Kevin McCarthy. She tweeted, "This guy swooned yesterday over MTG giving him $100,000 for a tube of cherry chapstick that touched his lips. So now he's projecting his insecurity about it on TV. Sorry, bud. The only person here holding the entire US economy hostage because they've completely lost control is you." The cherry chapstick thing, I'm never gonna understand anything about that, so I'm not even going to try. It happened, super weird. We have the weirdest government in the world. But what she's responding to is Kevin McCarthy saying this.
Why not offer a single concession beyond saying we're not gonna default?
We've offered a lot of concessions. The cap on the spending is a Democrat idea. The work requirement was a Democrat idea. I can't help it if the Democrats have become so extreme and now is a party of Bernie Sanders than the party where Joe Biden was elected. Joe Biden is the president of the United States. He is the head Democrat. But if AOC and Bernie Sanders is going to run their party, that's not my fault. I'm not even sure Bernie Sanders is a registered Democrat.
Okay, so attempting to, I guess, cause some discord amongst the Democrats by like, oh, I don't know about Bernie Sanders. It's 2016 again, everybody. He's not really a Democrat. But look at the little rhetorical trick that he did there, Maz. Oh, I haven't given any concessions. No, I took their ideas, increased work requirements, caps on spending. And the thing is, those are obviously right-wing priorities. But what he can use as a sort of defense to those statements is there have been some right-wing Democrats who have previously supported those things. Joe Biden in the past, a good number of years ago or whatever, has been perfectly happy to encourage more working requirements, and he might end up supporting it this time around. And so he takes things that they're pushing for now, says, hey, a Democrat once liked it or whatever, and aren't I a great bargainer? Now that's obviously not winning over the Democrats right now, which is why McCarthy is actually set to send the House home without a debt limit deal. When he said that if they don't get it this week, then they're not gonna get it by the June 1st cutoff. So I don't know, maybe it's just a negotiating tactic or whatever, attempting to play hardball, but so far it's not winning over a lot of Democrats, and he does need some Democrats. What do you think?
McCarthy is just, I mean, there really should be a test, like an IQ test or an intelligence test or something to be in Congress, because McCarthy really is another dumb human being. He's being held hostage by his right wing, and he gave in to get the speakership. So here we are. We all knew this was coming down the pike, and it has. And for him to say, oh yeah, we've given a lot of stuff. It's like somebody negotiating with you and saying, look, I'm not gonna give in at all. And then the other side comes in and goes, all right, fine. What about, I don't know, what if we do work requirements? And he goes, all right, well, see, that's me giving in to you. It's not me giving in to you. It's me saying I'm not gonna negotiate, and you coming up with ideas that I might accept because I am so extreme. It's, the unfortunate thing is that this speakership and this Congress, this right-wing Congress, has become so extreme that they are willing to see America crash and burn in order to simply win the next presidential election and win votes. That's really what it's about. 100%. So anyone who thinks it's anything else is just lying to themselves. It's exactly what that is. They just want to win the next elections. That's it, and go further right with this country. That's it.
You could not be more right. You could not be more correct, I'll say.
Oh yes.
Let's not be right. Anyway, with that said, we do have to take our second break. When we come back, we've got just the worst pastor to talk about after this. Okay, everybody, very little time remaining in this last hour, and I want to get to these two stories, so why don't we launch directly into this?
Any parents that would have their child have a transgender surgery done on them, any parent that would do that, they just need to be shot in the back of the head. Right. They need to be convicted in trial and immediately shot in the back of the head, okay? And then we can string them up above a bridge. And so that the public can see the consequences of that kind of wickedness. Yeah. And so there should be no excuse to not put these people to death. No excuse whatsoever.
I want to be very clear. I very much hate having to talk about, let alone show, that sort of person on the show. And sometimes I'm very conflicted about platforming that sort of murderous hatred. At the same time, it exists. There's a number of churches that are affiliated with this movement, and we'll talk about who that person is. And we need to know that there are people who are campaigning religiously on the violent execution of those who assist their family members in getting medical care. It exists, they're out there, they have followers, and I don't know, is it better that they're just growing in the darkness? I don't know. But that right there is Jason Graber, a new independent fundamentalist Baptist preacher at Sure Foundation Baptist Church in Spokane, Washington. He goes on to say, there are very, very few people out there in the world today that are actually fighting the spiritual fight. He says he doubts other preachers are willing to say that these child molesters, these child bushers, he uses the F word, all the LGBTQ people that desire strange flesh, that they should all be put to death in a public execution by the government. He's previously called gay people AIDS dispensers. He says a lot of really violent stuff. He says that LGBTQ stands for let God burn them quickly. One would think that if God did find members of the LGBTQ community so reprehensible, that since he's the creator of everything, he could probably deal with it and wouldn't need little troglodytes like Graber to go around murdering people. But Graber doesn't have faith in his God, and so he thinks it's up to them to enact his will. Also, I'm fairly certain, although I am an atheist, that there's some stuff in their religion that seems pretty core about thou shalt not kill. One would think that that would be specific and not open to that much misinterpretation. but Christians have always found ways around that little thing. So anyway, like I said, Maz, I hate even showing this sort of stuff, but there's 30 churches apparently that are affiliated with that group. And this is the sort of stuff that they're preaching.
You know, usually when you do dive into these people's backgrounds, whether it's like an article or a documentary, you see that there was a lot of volatility in their childhood. They either were raised by very close-minded bigots, or they had something really bad happen in their lives. And then it's unfortunate that they, rather than improving themselves, they turn around and they go after people to victimize. And the fact that we're having this conversation in 2023 just blows my mind. I mean, it's like, if this were the year 2, you might think, all right, people don't know anything and they're gonna spew something stupid like that. But we're in 2023. The world has changed. So whether you like it or not, the LGBTQ community is vibrant, it's here, and you got to deal with it. And a lot of times these people come out, it turns out that they have LGBTQ, they've had experiences or something, and sometimes they're hiding that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to delve into with somebody like this. What I think is clearly hopefully this is a minority of people, but what happens is this kind of hate then creeps into and spews its way into others who might not say, oh, we need to kill these people, but they will say, oh, did you hear they're teaching stuff in school and they're grooming our kids, and there's all this drag queen book hour. And my response to those people is I always go, when was the last time a drag queen or a transgender person did anything to harm you or do anything bad to you? When was it? Versus when was the last time somebody who was closed-minded and a bigot did something to harm you or attacked you in one way or another? If you really think about that stuff, you will see that the bigger threat to America are people that are bigots and closed-minded versus members of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, none of these people have. There's no personal experiences based on. There are millions of Americans right now that are just like quivering with rage about trans people. They've never met a trans person. They've had no experience with trans people. 2 years ago, never thought about trans people. It had no effect on their life. They were worried about their mortgage. They were worried about like their shocks going out on their car and getting a surprise $1,300 payment. They were worried about that stuff. But now they've been convinced, no, actually, although you have no experience with trans people, they're actually lurking behind you right now. And you should be terrified of them.
John, you're too kind. John, you're too kind. They weren't worried about their mortgage and their shocks. They were worried about Mexicans 2 years ago. And 3 years ago, they were worried about Muslims. And 4 years ago, it was black people. And now it's transgender. True. So, hey, there you go. Every year, it's a new group.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of the previous out groups. I don't know which group out there should be worried that they're on deck right now, but they will be elevated to the position of being attacked. By the way, I also want to mention this guy who's said a lot of crazy stuff. By the way, this one, Daniel Kutsars, another preacher, apparently affiliated with this or whatever. So he apparently said that Duolingo had been infiltrated by homosexuals. Duolingo is a language learning app, and it sometimes has examples that has same-sex couples, and that apparently means that the app has been infiltrated by homosexuals. Anyway, this individual Hema Meta.
The fact that he's at least trying to broaden his horizons by learning another language.
I know.
That's pretty funny to me.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how to say "stone the homosexuals" in more languages. But anyway, so this account on Twitter, Hema Meta, tweeted out one of these videos of them saying these crazy things. And the Sure Foundation Baptist Church, the church that Graber is affiliated with, replied, "Oh, I was wondering why I was getting death threats again this morning out of the blue. I bet Maz Jobrani, I think it's just mocking his name, is behind this. Sure enough, after sifting through your sea of Christian hate posts, there it was, your dog whistle of death. Who is really inciting violence?" Back on March 15th. Hema Meta points out, all I did was quote you. All he did was, he put the quote. I guess he called him a hate preacher. That's the most opining that he did. But take a look at that. assuming that's Graber who's responding, and it sure sounds like it's the first person for this organization. He's like, how dare you lead to me getting death threats? 2 months later, shoot them in the back of the head. Man, a little bit self-interested, his approach to stopping the violent threats.
Thanks for listening to the full episode of The Damage Report. Support our work, listen ad-free, access members-only bonus content, and more by subscribing to Apple Podcasts at apple.co/TYT. I'm your host, John Adarola. I'll see you soon.